There are so many people that claim to be practitioners of the magical arts or dark arts, or they refer to themselves as witches, as warlocks, as Satanists, and they claim to have experiences. But I want to ask one question to those of you that claim to be true practitioners of the art. How dark are you? Now, I really don't expect you to answer that question. But if you do, just how dark are you? Now, there are people that like to ride the line. They like to refer to themselves as witches and warlocks and ancestral religions or worship. But like I mentioned in the past video, what I said went over the heads of many people that claim to be practitioners, that claim to worship or call upon ancestors. It went completely over your head. I gave you hints, and I'm going to give you one more hint to what I meant in that last video when I was referring to your generations or your bloodline. See, there's power in blood. I'm going to repeat that. There is power in blood. And if you have blood connections with your deceased ancestor or your so-called ancestors of old, if you are within that bloodline, because keep in mind that's the only connection you have to the other side is that DNA, that bloodline, those people that you call your ancestors. So if you are blood related to the so-called Papa Legba or other so-called ancestors that you call upon, namely those that's from the continent, because you refer to yourself as black or melanated, you think that those are your ancestors, but yet you're so far from the bloodline. Again, it's the blood that connects you. It's the blood that's got the power for you to communicate with the other side. Now, whether or not you're actually connecting to a deceased loved one or ancestor, that's another story. Because there's so many deceptions out there, even in the satanic realm or the spirit realm. Who's to say that you're not actually connecting with another spirit or another force that gives you the impression or make you think that you are speaking or connecting with your ancestor? So when I said that video was over the heads of many people and that you had no idea what I was referring to, what I said was, or what I was saying was that you had no idea that the power is in the blood of your ancestors. That DNA connection that you have with your ancestors is what connects you to that ancestor. So again, you're calling upon entities that you have no idea what you are doing. Let's just take blood sacrifices. Now, when I ask you that question, how dark are you? What I meant by that was, when you refer to yourself as a magical practitioner, or better yet, a practitioner of the dark arts or magical arts, What type of blood sacrifices have you done? Have you ever boiled the bones of a black cat? Have you ever boiled a live black cat to get that bone of that cat? I'm trying to put it in a way that you can understand, but to some it's going to sound crazy. But you say that you've dealt with demonic forces. You say that you dealt with entities of a different realm. You say that. But have you really? See, there are two types of people that have that type of talent or gift. There's the people that were born that way. You were born into that. Myself personally, I was born into that. And yes, I have been, what's the term I can use? I've been approached by demons. I've been approached by demons. There's another word that I want to use, but it's not really coming out. But I've been approached by demons to use the gift and talent that y'all gave me for darkness. See, I could have went that route. Now, there's people that were born gifted or talented that choose to work on the dark side. These people are quiet. You don't see these people building altars. They are naturals. They have a natural talent. They have a natural gift. They're not like these people that read books or listen to other people and take what other people say and try to apply it to themselves. These are people that have a natural talent, a natural gift, and you have to be careful how you think or what you think because it comes natural to you. So even in your subconscious thinking, you can make things happen. See, when you think of black salt, laying black salt down or laying things down or what have you in people's path, those are just tools that really have no power. And I hear so many people out there that claim to be practitioners that, oh, it's according to the will. You know, when you put your intentions into it, when you put your will into it, you can make this happen and you can make that happen. When you're natural, you don't have to do any of that stuff because it comes natural. Anything that you use as a tool, that's just something extra, but it has no power. The only power it has is the power that you give it. So when I ask you the question, just how dark are you? Have you cut the neck of a chicken or a rooster? What have you done? What blood sacrifices have you done? Were you able to listen to that screaming and squealing cat as you burn him or boil him to get his bone? See, it's more than just whipping up potions and burying them into the ground and thinking that something is going to come of that. But you say that you've actually witnessed or dealt with demons. But have you? Have you really? It's more than just building altars. It's more than just wearing headdress or gowns and making people think that you're something that you're not, making people think that you have all of this power, this magical power, and you're taking these people's money. It's a scam. It's a gimmick. But how dark are you? See, myself personally, I was born into the world with talents and gifts. And one thing I noticed about people that have talents and gifts, and I can usually spot them, I can listen to them and tell if they had real experiences with the unseen. I can tell because we share the same experiences. I can listen to certain people talk. I can look in their eyes and tell. It's like a person that has been to combat and they have that 1,000-yard stare. Well, there's people that have actually witnessed the spirit realm or had an experience. I'm trying to put it in a simpler way, but for those of you that you have that type of 1,000-yard stare. See, so I can tell when somebody really had an experience. I can listen to them and tell if they really had an experience. And usually when somebody is gifted like that, a lot of time those gifts come with natural gifts. For example, they're artistic. They can draw or they can paint. Their way of expressing themselves. It's quite strange. These are people that are lonely. These are lonely people. Yes, they may have family and friends around them or people that care about them, but inside they're lonely. They tend to stay to themselves most of the time. They find that it's hard for them to trust other people because they can see through those people. They know what their so-called friends and family don't know. And there's a lot that they keep inside, bottled up, because they can't just talk to anyone. They can't just share their experiences with anyone. They know that they're different. They know what comes to them at nighttime and people can't understand it. There's people that will desire that and would say, wow, I wish I can dream or I wish I can experience that. But you really don't want it. See, because you're somewhat trained as you grow up. If you're born with this, and this is why it's hard for me to believe certain people when they're telling me that they're practitioners and they have all this power and they're actually able to access the spirit realm. So you have to grow into this. Because things that I've seen can drive you insane. I had a nerve problem growing up. I used to bite my fingernails. And I mentioned this in prior videos. And my mom used to always joke and say, I'm going to put hot sauce on your fingers, because I always used to sit there and just gnaw on my fingernails. Because I had a nerve problem because of the things that came to me at night. My whole family was aware of that. My mother used to hate when I dream. Because when I dream, she knows that something is going to happen. Especially if I wake up screaming and crying at nighttime. So I grew up with that. I've seen things have come to me at night. Demons, spirits, whatever they're called. And they talk to me. I recall one time this one demon came to me and actually challenged me. Gonna tell me I wasn't strong enough, right? At the time. But there's some weird things. I used to wake up screaming, man, just about every night because of things that I saw, things that came at me, And one dream I shared about that big woman laying beside me. I'm laying there asleep. This is back when the Jackson 5 first came out. And I wake up and I see these big white eyes staring at me. It looked like that woman on the Aunt Jemima pancake bottle. Right? Had a big old head rag on her head, big fat lady laying there. And when I woke up, all I could see is those two big white eyes staring at me, laying beside me, sitting there staring at me. And I had to touch it to make sure that it wasn't just a blanket or some clothes or something. And when I touched it, it was flesh. And I let out this big scream and yell, "Ma!" I was screaming. And my mother come running in there and turn on the light. Says, "Boy, what's wrong with you?" I saw a fat lady laying beside me, right? And she had me get up, wash my face with some cold water, whatever, and had me sit up for a while until I was able to fall back to sleep. You know, so I've seen some crazy things growing up. You know, I recall, I ain't even gonna get into that, but there's some crazy things I've seen. So when you grow up with that, and these entities are drawn to you because of that, because you have that spirit of discernment, or you have that spiritual gift, they're automatically the spirit realm is automatically drawn to you. So after I became so used to seeing these things as I got older. If they were to appear now, it may startle me a little bit, but I'll look at it and I'll turn over and go to sleep. You know? So for somebody to say, oh, I have all of these gifts and I can do all of this magical stuff, and you never had to go through anything, you've never had to actually go through things that adults, it would drive you insane if you saw the things I saw. And I had to grow up seeing these things. See, when you're a child, when you come into the world with a talent or a spiritual gift, and you're a baby and you have nightmares from a child coming up, you're actually being groomed. You're being groomed, you're being conditioned for that gift and talent. So when I become an adult, it's nothing for me to see that. But yet you tell me that you can read books, or you can set up altars or burn incense, or spit some alcohol on an altar and call upon whoever you call upon, and they just going to listen to you and then manifest themselves, and it has no effect on your physical. It's got no effect on your mind. I've seen people go crazy tampering with that mess. And these are very smart people, but they were not born spiritually gifted. They tried to come another route. They start playing with tarot cards. And yes, Lucifer or Satan can give you or grant you certain talents and gifts. But it may come with a price. It will come with a price. Why do you think that people that choose, whether they're born with the gift or whether they get it some other way, why do you think that in most cases these people are drug addicts? They have alcohol problems. They fall into prostitution or homosexuality. There's some type of spiritual affliction that comes along with these gifts when you use them outside of the Most High. I'm just going to say it that way. When you have a talent or a gift, or you start dabbling into the spirit realm, and you're able to see things, or you start having dreams or what have you, or as some people say, they started accessing their Akashic record and all this other nonsense, but there's a price behind that. And in most cases, you end up a drug head, alcoholic, homosexual, prostitute, whatever. It drives you insane. People that's naturally gifted with a spiritual gift, it also comes with a natural gift as well. You may be able to sing. You have a nice voice. And in most cases, they're able to draw. They're able to draw, paint. They do sculptures. And in many cases, they're unhappy inside because of the things, not only the things they see, but that loneliness, that depression that comes along with it. So there's people that covet that and don't realize the price that person had to pay in order to have that spiritual gift. So there's like the natural, talented, gifted people, and then there's the ones that were made, or those that sought demonic help and guidance, and they may have been granted some level of it, but there's a price behind it because they'll end up destroying you or somebody close to you, a family member. Because you just can't tamper and dabble into that, receive something from that realm, and think you can just walk away. No, those demons are coming after you. You're going to have to pay. If those demons grant you what you asked for, right? And keep in mind, in order to deal with demons, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to see those demons. You know, they may throw like little trinkets out there for you. And you're thinking like, oh, this works. But then you decide you want to walk away from that after you sought these demons. And they, quote unquote, blessed you with something, gave you some money, or maybe a job, or you took somebody's man or somebody's woman, right? And then you're just going to walk away from that after you got what you want? No, those demons are coming after you. And they're either going to take you or they're going to go after your children, right? So you just can't play with that. And when it comes to bloodline ancestors, that is actually what connects you to those ancestors, is your blood. There's power in the blood. That's why you see a lot of witches or people that's in the voodoo, Haiti, Africa, wherever you. That's why you see them. There's like blood sacrifices, people drinking blood. You know, they drinking blood or they making pacts with demons. You know, so for you to say that you've actually seen it, you witnessed demons, that's a lie. That's a big bald-faced lie to deceive those that don't know better. So you may call upon Byron or Papa Legba or whoever, but you have no idea what you're doing. And you need to back away from that. And this may be the last warning that you may have, right? Because when you're naturally gifted like that, you don't have to read no book. I never had to read a book. Now, when I did read up on things, I read up on it out of curiosity, and I wanted to see what it had to say. And to me personally, it was a bunch of garbage, right? So when you got these people out there that's putting on all the theatrics, and they're putting on the gowns and the headdress, and you know, and they have the altars, and these girls getting on camera smiling, talk about they witches, and they're proudly saying that they're witches, and I'm this and I'm that, and I have this power and I have that power and I'm this. You're deceiving yourself. And if a demon really appears to you in its true self, it would drive you insane. And it won't leave you alone. Don't think that you can kind of ride the fence and call yourself a good witch, or I'm a white witch, and you're riding the fence and talking about I only use magic for good. There's no such thing as a good witch. No such thing at all. As a matter of fact, the Most High says, I will have you to be hot or cold. Because if you're lukewarm, he will spew you out of his mouth. In other words, he don't want you to be part-time. You got 1 foot on the dark side and you got 1 foot on the light. You're riding the line. And again, he said, I will have you to be hot or cold. Either you're in or you're out. So feedback, tell me what you think. Subscribe. Until next time, I'm fearless.